Hey, welcome back, everybody, to the Tiny and Nate Show. We're here.
Go!
Let's go. So today, we are stoked to bring you an episode doing another deal review, but this is like hot off the press. This is of a property that we just bought. So we're going to do a deal breakdown on, how we got the property, how we constructed the deal, how we got the contract, and then what we're doing with it. We are actually going to fix and flip it. Spoiler alert. But I'm super stoked to go through all these questions and have Nate give his input and share the learning lessons that we picked up along the way with you guys. So, if you guys want feedback specifically or have ideas for other podcasts or episodes, share them in the comments. We'll try to answer your questions. But today specifically, I'm really excited to bring this to you. So Nathan, what did we do? What's the fantastic property? Was it $1 million property, a quadplex? What did we buy?
Yeah, we just bought a little 3-bed, 1-bath house, totally a little starter house in Bellingham, and we're going to turn it into a 3-2. It was an on-market house, so we'll get into that a little bit later. But
Nice.
for those of our brothers and sisters out there who do a lot of wholesaling or fix and flipping or look for properties off market, just want to kind of use this as an example to demonstrate, hey, you can still fix and flip houses that are on market. It takes just a little bit different mindset and maybe some different processes, but has been working great for us.
That's awesome. It's totally true. It's kind of out of left field of, investors kind of in our circles going like, well, how's there room to do that? How would you navigate those waters? And like, does that even make sense to do numbers wise? And so I'm excited to share with other people how we're doing that. Does it mean it's the only way? No, but it is working. And it's where a fair number of our deals come from. So let's start with this. How did you get the lead?
Ooh, well, we use Deal Source. So Deal Source is a platform and VA that is working together to basically our VA put me into a meeting on the phone, scheduled it on my calendar. So I just woke up that morning and boom, there was a meeting with an agent that had a rough property that needed to be
Nice.
rehabbed. And so Deal Source is where the lead came from, which really was more than a lead. It was a meeting with an agent with the listed property link, some comps. So it was really more than a lead. It was an appointment with a motivated seller.
That's awesome. So instead of going to, because we've got plenty of experience trying to get people who are interested, and we fight that battle on a daily basis.
Right.
You get such a mixed bag of like people who really need to talk to you and people who never want to talk to you. And so, actually, what is it like to talk to people who you're not convincing them to sell? Is this a deal that we can do? What's that like?
Well, right. So if anybody out there has experience talking or trying to find motivated sellers for fix and flips or wholesales, or listings, if you're a realtor, that's half the battle, right? Both finding leads, but actually finding a motivated seller. And so when you're dealing with on-market properties, especially ones that have been on market for months, you've got a motivated seller. They've already raised their hand and said, I want to sell. Now, a lot of investors kind of reject these as opportunities because in their mind, they think the agent's in the way, or it's already overpriced, or a lot of the margin has been squeezed out of it because it's on market and they're trying to maximize the value. And that those things are true a lot of the times, which is why we put in 10 or 15 or 20 offers before we get a good fix and flip, or sometimes more, right?
Totally. Yeah. Which leads me to my next question. Of all the people that saw this property on market and all the people who went to visit the house and put offers on it, how did you get the contract?
Well, this is good. We were not the seller's number one choice. They actually had another contract they accepted first. And so we put our offer in months ago, or at least weeks ago, and we didn't win it. So, you kind of let that one go. But then the other buyers fell out. They couldn't do the rehab. It was too much for them. And so they came back to our offer. And we had actually put in 2 offers, and I'll give you the numbers now. We had offered them $390 cash or $425 if they would carry the mortgage for 7 months.
Nice.
So it gave them an option to choose, hey, do you want just all the cash in your pocket now, or do you
Mhm.
want more in your pocket later? If
Mhm.
you will basically write an IOU note against the deed of the house that says we got to pay you this much down, this much month after month, and this much when we resell the house after it's rehabbed.
Mhm. That's pretty genius. And so what I love about that is this is a people business and it's about giving options. And I feel like so many people or so many times it's tempting for us to like go to a problem with one answer and like try to like
Right.
cram our answer
Right.
and like, why aren't you taking my offer? And it's like, well, because it doesn't work for me. So I, that's not gonna make it happen. So I love your creativity. That's something like to a fault. You will take something that's dead, just there's no life into it, and you're like, well, what about this? And it works
To a
because like
fault.
I mean, you
Thank you for
do
your
like
honesty, brother.
it's true. I love you, man. But it works like so much of the time, and sometimes it's dead. That's fine. So say a
Right.
prayer
That's
and
right.
move on. Like,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
sometimes you breathe life into a deal where it's like, well, I'm gonna try this, and
A little
it
CPR.
a little CPR, and it comes back to life, and it's like, oh my gosh, that's so genius. So I love the method that you used here of going, hey, we can do 390 cash, or if you can be a little patient with us while we do the flip, we'll give you a higher price.
Right.
And then we're not incurring as the investors all of the carrying costs to do the rehab. We
Right.
got a smaller amount down, but then we can do the rehab budget and we're not throwing huge amount down. So do
Right.
you
Right.
do you have the numbers with you? Are you able to kind of break down how that transaction worked?
Just break down all the numbers for the deal.
Yeah, just what did
Sure.
we so we got it for 425, right?
Yep, got it for 425. It was originally listed for 489 back in October,
Mm,
and they went through a series of price reductions. Um,
okay,
and then again, we weren't the first offer. Somebody probably offered more. And this is
okay.
an encouragement for those of you out there who are fix and flipping to get in offers. The more offers you make, the more money you'll make. You're not going to win all of them. You're not going to be first in line all the time, but you're definitely not going to win any if you don't put in these offers, right? So,
That's a
so
that's
for
a
us,
nugget right there. Don't roll over that. So putting in offers, like it took me a while, months, I remember to change my mindset about that. And you just kept working on me. And I finally let go of my kind of locked in mindset of putting in offers.
mm,
You're not you're not messing with people. You're not being dishonest. You're saying this is the offer that works for me.
mhm,
I understand it's not going to be your A team offer necessarily, but I'm good at this number. So if something falls
right.
apart with your first, first offer that you really love, call me. I can perform. I can do this. And you have that conversation and it's so true and then agents come back to you. I love that.
For sure. And the retail buyer, the husband and wife, the whoever, the couple, the single person that's going to buy that house and
Yep.
live in it can always pay more than you or I, can always pay more than an investor. And so we're
Totally.
going to lose out to those retail buyers all the time. But
Mhm.
by putting these tools in our toolkit of creative finance, there's 1,000 ways to skin a cat, as you said. So
Yep.
the numbers were buy price 425.
Okay.
The seller agreed to a 10% down payment.
Okay.
So 42K down payment,
Hmm. Hmm.
and then $1,500 a month for
Okay.
7 months. So that's the
Nice.
monthly mortgage payment.
Nice.
This basically comes out to like a 4% loan.
Yep. Yep.
And then, a payoff, a balloon
Hmm.
payment in the next 7 months. So we estimate it'll take us max 2 months, 3 months to turn this one around because it's
Hmm.
pretty doable. Aesthetic
Hmm.
flip.
Yep.
um, Adding a bathroom, but not doing, we're not replacing a roof or
Right.
replacing a foundation or whatnot. So
Right.
those are the numbers. And we believe it should sell for, should I hang on to the ARV number
Yeah.
until
Let's
we
hold
actually
on because
sell
we
it
don't know.
so we don't
We
have
don't
to
know.
eat crow? Yeah, okay. We'll do a second episode. We'll do a breakdown episode once once it's been
It's a good
flipped,
idea.
and
That's a good idea.
we'll break down the profits and see if it's a triple digit flip or not.
It might be, yeah, a triple digit flip. Well, I guess that would be a 6 digit flip. It better be more than $100.
I'm going off the Pace Morby, Jamil
We made
Damji A&E
$300.
show. Triple digit flip. Yeah, it does sound a little wrong, right? Wow,
It
good job,
does.
guys. So you made $900.
Yeah, there's some
Triple
place values that I
digits.
think they're missing.
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's the funny thing about numbers and zeros. Like the more
Yeah,
place values you add,
that's right.
it
6-digit flip doesn't sound as good though. Like triple digit flip
it
is easier to
no
say.
triple digit flip has a nice rhythm to it. You're
Si-
right.
Sextuple flip. Yeah, that's a different TV show. That's
No,
different. That's
no,
not
it's
good.
kind of like Tiny and Nate versus Nate and Tiny. Nate and
It's
Tiny would
true.
never fly as a podcast.
It's true. It's true. It sounds terrible. Yeah. No one's watching or listening to Nate and Tiny. Tiny and Nate,
Nobody's
though.
watching Nate and Tiny. No.
Oh my gosh. So let's talk about speed bumps because there were actually this was a fairly smooth one, which I love.
Yeah, yeah,
A thing I'll point out about that though is like the more swings you make at a ball, like the more balls you're gonna hit. So
right.
I don't want folks to get the wrong impression of like, oh, they just, deals fall into their lap. Like we don't typically make podcasts about all the grind or the ones that don't work out because those aren't as fun to
Sure,
talk about. But
sure.
to encourage folks, like this actually was fairly smooth. But what are some of the speed bumps that we ran into along the way?
Well, the very first one was submitting an offer and having it not be accepted, which is the majority of the time, right? If you're trying to buy um, on-market properties that still have enough margin in them to be your livelihood, your business, what brings
Right.
groceries to your kids,
Hmm.
it's challenging to find especially because there's so little inventory. It just so happens that in this case, like we already said, that there was too much work for the buyers, the regular retail buyers, which is
Yep.
where the fix and flipper fits in the marketplace, right?
Yep.
I love that when we're all said and done with this, a family's going to get to live in this home and have a really peaceful environment that they love.
Yeah.
So it's part of the redemptive and renovative story of being in fix and flip that I absolutely think is really cool. Let
Yeah.
alone the jobs you create along the way, right? The guys that are in there
Huge.
scraping popcorn ceilings, the guys that
Yep.
are in there installing new cabinets.
Yep.
We love those.
At
We
what
love
is
our
it
crew. So
at minimum, like 15 jobs are created or 15 people are employed when we purchase property and flip it. Like it's not small. I was I was on a bus the other day, like going up to the mountain, and someone asked what I was doing, and I was like, "Oh, real estate investor." And then someone was like, "Oh, you're the enemy." I was like, well, not really. Like, there's a lot of people that get employed because I do what I do and like help rejuvenate gross houses that are causing problems in neighborhoods and communities. Like, I don't know if I called myself the enemy. Like,
you're the bad guy in that Disney movie Up with the glasses, building the
am I?
buildings on either side of the retiree in his cute little house. That's who you
Uh,
are now. You're
hang on.
that. That's
That's who I am. Yes. Hang on. Hang on. Here we go. There we go.
you got the glass. Uh, they need to be
I had him.
shades. There you go.
That's fine.
So, was there other speed bumps? I mean, there are some things to fix in this house, right? Like, turns out it had some sump pump issues under the house. It's got
Electrical,
some nasty old
massive
windows that we're going to
electrical.
replace. Yeah, the layout was a little funny. So, we had a fun conversation with our partner of an A, B, and C level
Mhm,
budget slash rehab that we had to make some decisions on that. I don't think they were
mhm.
speed bumps. They were just good learning lessons and good conversations to have of, you have to decide, are we going to spend 60 grand and hope for this return? Or are we going to spend 80 grand and hope for this return? And or 45. So figuring that out was, I wouldn't say painful, but it can create, you can create that doubt can creep in where you eventually just got to make a decision. And especially
Yep,
when it's a three guy LLC trying to make that decision together. But I really love working on those decisions with you guys because we just put our opinions in, do the best we
yep,
can, move forward with wisdom, and pull the trigger and make it happen.
yes. Yeah, and I would agree with you. They weren't necessarily speed bumps, but just kind of like, okay, how do we want to approach this? And how do we want to do this?
Mm-hmm.
Um, another, I don't know that would be challenge. Well, it was a little bit of a challenge. Do you remember the paperwork issue that we ran into with uh, raising the private money? Maybe you don't remember that. I handled it kind of,
Uh,
but
that was more your side. Do you
yeah.
tell our audience, Daniel? Tell us about that speed bump.
So, as we're growing a fan of in this particular instance, we didn't provide the funds for the down payment ourselves. It didn't come from us. We
Ah,
sourced that.
okay.
as part of what we were bringing to the deal, which is awesome because, again, it's a win-win. It allows a passive investor who doesn't have a way to increase their returns on their own, or maybe not one that is as good as we can offer. So they're getting, I think, like a 14% return. Like, it's high, but it's a short amount of time. So anyways,
Right.
so we brought that in, but the paperwork that we were going to do to get the promissory note and written up and everything, the lawyer that we used got COVID. And so he like couldn't
Oh,
do it
that's
in
right.
time. So this was like, oh no. Turns out that paperwork is something that an escrow officer can do. It's part of their, like, they're approved to do it kind of things. You just got to get all the documents right. So having an amazing title company who
Yep.
is willing to work with you and help you solve those real world problems that every transaction runs into.
Yep.
Literally every transaction we've ever done, there's like something that goes awry. That's real estate.
Right.
There's a lot going on. So I just, shout out to amazing title companies and escrow officers who really care about what they do and are good at it, because it totally saved our butts. Like, they were able to come in at the last minute and put those documents together to where everything was perfect. And we were able to close exactly on time according to schedule. So that was
That's
like
awesome.
really hairy. Really going like, oh no, this is gonna fall apart, but it didn't. So
Like hours. We had hours till
yeah,
closing. Is that basically what it was? Like
pretty
48
much.
hours or something like that?
Oh, less than
Yeah.
that. Yeah, it was day
Yeah.
before for sure. It was just like, oh no. So, but it worked out.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's another plug for Who Not How. Making sure that you're
Yep.
working with the right people. That's a big deal.
Absolutely.
That's a big deal.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I was, our kind of traditional fourth question is how do you dispo it, but we're flipping this one.
Yep.
And so, we're not working with anybody else or selling it. Let's see, how do we, is there any lessons learned, not necessarily speed bumps or anything that we would do different on this deal if we
Mm.
could start it over again? One of the things I think you might want to touch on is, there's so much to be gained in having a good follow-up system, because again,
Mm.
you got shut down on this deal. This was a no
Right.
at
Right.
first. And I
Right.
think it's so likely that if anybody tries what we're doing or is trying and they've had experience like, oh, that doesn't work, like none of my offers got accepted. Talk about that.
That's right. So, one of the things that Marge, our team member and assistant, did on this one, I believe, if I remember correctly, is when she saw it go back from pending to back listed, is I think either our automation or Marge reached out and picked up the conversation again, and so that follow up process, it might have even been me manually, but regardless, having a follow up process in place,
The deal source
automation
VA that will
person,
reach back out. That's so cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. Because it is hard once you, especially if you get to putting in 5 offers a day or 3 offers a day or 20 offers a day, yeah, having that process to follow up, whether it's person or automation or a trigger on your calendar was essential. In this case, it was really nice because we weren't doing this one virtually. It's right in our backyard. And so
Yeah.
I had got to go over to the property and meet face to face with the agent. Actually, this is something I've learned that I haven't shared with you, but I really want to start, even if whether we're doing a virtual or a county
Mhm.
away or otherwise, I really want to start on our calls with agents, trying to FaceTime or Zoom or something,
Okay.
because I think when you're just a voice,
Yeah.
I mean, there's evidence of this in medicine, right?
Right.
Doctors who see a face instead of
They
just
care
an
more.
X-ray,
Yep.
they care more.
Yep.
They diagnose better, etc. And so I really want to start trying to, if we can't go be face to face with the agent, to at least FaceTime or Zoom or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not always possible because
great idea.
sometimes you're driving and whatnot.
Yep.
But
I think we actually talked about that on a meeting we were talking with DTC, direct to consumer.
Yeah.
If there's a way that we can build trust and rapport better with sellers, just when we're going, straight to sellers. I love that idea. I'll put my brain on that and solve for it. I'll write it down.
Yeah.
We're just solving problems here. No big deal.
It should be easy enough with most agents, with on-market properties and listing agents, because most of them got iPhones anyhow. So you should be able to just FaceTime them Hey, can we
Yeah.
actually? So it's just switch from on the call from, hey, you got a second to FaceTime? And hopefully not on the toilet.
Oh, I hope that's the
Nah,
line you use to switch. That's an
that's
amazingly
not the
awkward
plan.
segue.
But
Yes. And on that note,
yeah.
no, gosh.
Okay,
Well,
well, let's do a follow-up. Let's do a follow-up episode. We'll break down the actual profit from this deal, see how it went. And I'm reminding myself now too, I want to make sure and go out and give a review for that agent because he was awesome to work with, and
you totally should.
Renee Michael, anybody in town. So I'll go make sure I get him.
Shout out.
He's old school though, so he might not have a Google review page. I'll have to go find out.
He could be in the
There's
paper.
no school like the old school.
That's right, dude. So I think we owe our listeners / viewers pictures. Can we do we should do the second version once it's done, and we can show how maybe some before and after photos.
Totally.
I think that'd be sweet.
We'll do that.
I'm really stoked to see that kitchen turn out. So pro tip that we learned on this, you can, instead of replacing all the cabinets, which was going to cost us like $15,000 for cabinets, you can take all the doors off and either replace the doors or refinish the doors, but leave the boxes in and just like repaint the boxes, because usually those aren't the beat up parts. So that's something that I think we could. Well, that's something I'm taking away from this one, is like one of those. That's saving us like $7,000 or something like that. So pretty cool.
Yep,
I'd never heard
the boxes are in good enough shape. Yep, absolutely.
Okay. Oh,
so I mean, this property.
Here we go.
We'll just do some real quick before pictures. I'll zoom in on here a little bit. It's a 1960s style, which we love those around here. It's actually great to buy those because they have more modern wiring and whatnot, and they usually have layouts that work pretty nice for rehabbing. This one is funny because it has sliders on both sides of the house.
Yeah, that's not the back. That's the side.
That's the side, side yard. Yep. So that's kind of fun. You can see it's got some, newer vinyl windows in there, so that's pretty good savings for us. Whereas the sliders are aluminum, and those will have to be replaced. In fact, I went in there yesterday, and the sliders are already delivered, so that's exciting.
Nice.
It's got this big giant backyard and a big giant. This is the entrance, which is kind of interesting because it's got this great big glass window on either side of the door on the right there. Wood floors. Those will look great when they're done. Kind of cool closet nook that people will come into right there. You hang up your coats when you come in. It's got a pretty big living area and dining area. The kitchen will be all redone. All the lights will be all redone. New floors, new paint, new trim, new heat systems. All this is torn out now, so that's gone.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. This is all torn out so that we can put a modern-sized fridge in there and a pull-out pantry. So that'll look amazing when it's done.
So excited about that.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a beautiful house.
This is it's not a ugly. This was a functional kitchen for somebody, but we're gonna make it 2022 standards, and it'll be gorgeous. Let's see, the layout on this left side is interesting because that wall in the back there, that's actually going to become. You can see there's like a hole in the wall there. There used to be a door possibly there.
Oh yeah.
We basically reopened that space up because we're going to put a mom and dad ensuite bathroom right there to make this a 3-2. So that's going to be awesome.
Nice.
Let's see what else to say. I mean, gosh, look at the walls, just gorgeous.
I hope we're leaving that wallpaper.
That came down. Nice big window in one of the bedrooms. This is kind of fun. So that there's this backyard is gorgeous. The bathroom was teeny tiny. And so redoing this bathroom and adding another one is basically essential for bringing up the value of this house.
Tiny size.
Yeah. Great big backyard. So pretty cool. A couple of tough sheds. If you need a house to put either your tools or your teenagers in.
Back to the box. No, it's terrible.
Yeah. Go back to the box. So somebody's going to love this house when it's all done. It's going to have a real nice update. I'm
excited. I'm really, really excited about the potential on that one. Gosh.
Yeah.
So any parting words of wisdom? I think it was just a really solid recap of, or at least part one of two on this fix and flip that we're doing. Anything else for the folks?
Well, just to summarize, it's whether you've got traditional loans or you're doing the Burr method or this is just another way that you can get into real estate investing, especially towards the beginning of your career, right? Because again, we brought in an investor for the down payment. The seller is providing the monthly is providing a mortgage, an IOU note.
Yep.
We've got a great partner who's doing the rehab. So it's
Yep.
all of that who, not how coming together, and just recognizing that there's 1,000 ways to skin a cat, get enough offers out there. Give your seller options if you have figured out creative versus cash, whether you're using hard money or not. And then, just don't give up. Don't give up, because it's easy to feel bummed if you put out 20 offers and 19 get rejected, but just looking for that one.
I love that. And we've definitely seen some people turn opportunities like this into real clickbaity titles, no money in and XX return or whatever. The headline I want you guys to hear, and I think that we've learned, is just like what you just said. Don't give up. Like, this stuff becomes possible when you just keep at it. We haven't had to put really money down on this, but there's so much that goes into orchestrating and putting the deal together where everybody wins. And that's where I think that's the goal for us, is like making win-win-win situations. And it's working. It's great.
Totally. Yeah. There could be a clickbait title for this, which is like how to get a $500,000 house for $3,000. You know what I mean?
Right. Earnest money. I forgot. We did put earnest money down.
But that is pretty deceptive, like you just said, because the knowledge and the time and finding the deal provider, the cash provider, the creative terms, the agent, the title company, as you mentioned, deal source, the assistant, like it. Just saying how to get a $500,000 house for $3,000 would be very deceptive because
absolutely
of the time, energy, money, and processes that were involved in that whole
education.
thing.
I mean,
people. People. Education for sure.
Yeah. So I guess that's the encouragement I want to leave folks with, is like, continue to invest in your education. This is part of it. This podcast should be one of like 100 things that make up your, what's in between your ears to help you go produce value for those in your community or wherever your market is, and for your family. Like, we are constantly learning, and I thought we were learning like all the time, but this feels like now we're in overdrive, which I love, and it's resulting in opportunities like this. So cool, man. Well, thank you for recapping.
8 months ago, did you think we could do this?
No, not at all. I mean, it's like my wife was even commenting of how different we talk about money now, because producing it is it's not gold. Like, it's not this thing that you just can't go dig up. It's like, we are now in the process of producing value through applying these tools and serving people in these higher value ways by just deploying all these tools. And it's amazing. Like, it's truly changing how we think about money. The scarcity mindset that we used to have, like, it really is changing us. So I'm hopeful that this is able to help push people in that way as well. Cause it feels so freeing. I don't feel like they have that 800-pound gorilla on my back like I used to when I had a W-2. Do you remember that? I remember in meetings just talking to you about that, the stress. And it's not like we're cajillionaires, but we now have the tools to go make money and serve people, and it's working. So that's what I'm just truly like encouraged by, and I hope we're able to help other people get there too.
That's right. Yep. That's the whole point of this, is to help other people get time, money, and relationship freedom by learning to invest in real estate for themselves. Absolutely.
There you go. Sweet. We'll roll that beautiful bean footage, and we'll see you on the next one.
See you on the next one, Tiny.
Bye.